She looking good. She looking good. So today I'm going to be bringing you guys a video that has been highly requested. How much did it cost to boost this car? Going over a full parts review and a total price. Let's get into it. This color do be bussin' though. Of course, got to present you guys with that good cold start. I love the way that this car sounds. You cannot beat that flutter. And then just listen to the wastegates open. Can't beat it, man. Absolutely amazing. Whoops. That wasn't illegal or anything, right? So pretty much all pulls that I do on this car is low boost. Just because high boost is like a different animal. And we do need new tires on this car because it is not hood. This car gets down, dude. Like all the way down. Oh, that was a big dip. So every bolt that was turned on this car was filmed on this channel. You guys saw me turn this car from a stock 370Z to the monster that it is today. And the biggest question that I get now is, how much did it cost you to boost this car? Well, let's talk about it. So of course, starting off with the turbo kit. So we have a Gonzo Evo top mount single turbo kit for the vehicle. The kit includes, of course, the charge pipes you guys can see right there. It includes the turbo itself. It includes a massive intercooler. I think it's massive. The bumper hides it a lot, but you can still see it through the bumper. It includes the downpipe, and it also includes aftermarket replacements for the stock headers, which I think is pretty cool. I believe he's like the first one to do that. This kit is rated for about 630 wheel horsepower, and it ran me about 6,500. So one thing that helped too is I have a full list of everything I bought, and this is pretty much what I'm reading off of with prices and all that stuff. It really helps when you write it down and you put the price next to it, and then when you actually get that part, you just cross it off on your list. It really helps with, of course, being organized with pricing and parts that you need and all that stuff. Next on the list, we have the stage 4 clutch from Z-Speed. So I believe that one's gonna be the 6-puck rigid stage 4 clutch. It does come with the C-Mac. That's the option that I chose, of course, because you guys know this life cylinders go bad on these cars. It's infamous. That ran me $1,500 altogether, and let me tell you, this clutch is pretty aggressive. It's not like your regular clutch. Now the clutch might be a slight overkill, but I did want some room for more power just in case I wanted to like push a little bit more power out of here. I want to be like maxed out on the clutch because this kit still has some room for like more power, but I'll get into that a little later. So next on the list, we do have the exhaust. So this exhaust is going to be the GT Haas themselves. This exhaust ran me $2,466. The reason why it was so expensive is because it is valve controlled, meaning I can control the valves through this remote. I can open them and close them. Let me actually show you guys. So this is what it sounds like when the valves are open, and this is what it sounds like with them closed. And open. And closed. I really mainly got this exhaust because I live in California, and my theory is, of course, California and its rules and regulations and how annoying it is. The quickest way to get state ref is through your exhaust. So I got this exhaust so that if I'm ever in that situation, I can literally close the valves and be a stock looking 370Z for now, of course. So next on the list, we do have the fuel system. So the fuel return system is not going to be through CJM, unfortunately, but I did have a guy out in SoCal build me one. It did come with a fuel pressure regulator, as you guys can see, and we have a Walbro, I believe it's a 535 pump, and that ran me about $1,070. We do have aftermarket fuel rails since we are running a top mount single turbo kit. The stock fuel rails runs a little too close for comfort to that turbo, so we did end up getting aftermarket fuel rails. That is going to be through Radium, and that ran me about $284. And then of course we had to run bigger injectors, which we got the 1300 cc's, which ran me about $13.50. I got that on like a Black Friday deal, so that's the only reason why they were that cheap. I also got the injector adapters because I did not want to sit there and figure out the wiring and pins and all that stuff. That is like mad annoying. So that ran me about $95. And then we do have the CJM fuel basket. So basically what it is, it's going to be the twin pump. I think that's like the terminology that he uses on his website. It's going to be the twin pump. So what it is, it's like a basket that replaces your stock one that's like metal instead of plastic, and you're able to run like dual pumps, which is amazing. We're currently running one just because we're not going too crazy with power. That is going to be through CJM, like I said, and that ran me $652. Next on the list, we do have the gauges that we were able to fit in the factory locations. Dude, that's easily probably like my favorite modification that we've done, just because it looks OEM. We still was able to utilize the silver ring around it, so literally it looks stock. Now these gauges are going to be through AEM. We have a AFR gauge, boost gauge, and an oil temp gauge. This ran me about $653. And next on the list, we do have the oil cooler. You guys can't see it because it's sitting in this area right here, right behind the intercooler. But install wasn't too bad. If you have a Nismo, there's a dampener in the front that you have to swap. That oil cooler ran me about $530. There are 3 that you can choose from on Z1's website. I believe there's a 24 row, 34 row, and I believe there's another one. I could be totally wrong, but I just know we got the middle one. So we don't have the bottom one, we don't have the top one, we have the middle one. And I would recommend that whether you're boosted or not, because it does keep the oil temps down. Next on the list, we do have the 4-bar map sensor. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not 100% sure what it's for. I do know that it helps a lot with tuning. But that little sensor, because it's straight out of a GTR, that little sensor ran me about 150 bucks. That one actually hurt because comparing price to size, I was livid, but it's all good. Like I said, anything that's gonna help this car run tip-top shape and like reliable, I was all for it. It just was a little too high, a little too high. Next are the GTR spark plugs. Now, of course, This is like infamous in the VQ community, GTR spark plugs, because I believe those are gonna be step colder, because as you guys know, the GTRs come twin turboed. So we did get those. That ran me about $143. Now, another one of my favorite modifications that we did was this 3-in-1 reservoir right here through Switchback Racing. So this is going to be a coolant reservoir, oil catch can, and a power steering reservoir. Now, the reason why this is so significant, one, of course, being a catch can, two, it's going to be a coolant reservoir, so it replaces all that into one. This guy is going to be very important because this is going to be the power steering reservoir, because the power steering reservoir from like a stock 370Z location is going to be right here where the turbo sits. Of course, the turbo sits right here, so we have to relocate that. So instead, because I know there's kits that utilizes the actual reservoir that it comes in, which doesn't look that great, and it just like places over here. So instead of doing that, we literally just got a reservoir that it's pretty much a 3-in-1, right? And it just looks amazing. I love the fact that it's like a raw finish, and that it matches the somewhat matches the turbo. It's like a polished finish. That guy right there ran me $707. I know it's high, but I believe these are made to order. It looks good and it serves a purpose, right? And next on the list, we do have the flex fuel kit that we got through Specialty Z. That actually ran me about $493, and it actually wasn't that bad to install. It's probably one of the easiest things I did on this car. As you guys know, we are running full E85 in this vehicle. Even over flex fuel, I could run 91, but I try not to just because that's kind of boring, right? Next on this, we have a turbo blanket. So not running one of these wasn't an option for me. Like, this was like one of the most important things, because of the fact that this is a top mount turbo kit. This turbo adds a lot of heat into this engine bay, and I just wanted everything around it to be protected, right? Because as you guys know, this is the exhaust housing and it gets extremely hot. So I did not cheap, as you guys can tell. I don't know if you can tell already, but I did not cheap out on anything with this build, and it did not exclude the turbo blanket. I paid $120 for this turbo blanket. It looks good. It serves a purpose. I didn't want to get one that was off-brand, one that like fits sloppy. This one actually looks good, and like, again, it serves a purpose. And yeah, I know it was expensive, but looks good. Next, we have the screen on the turbo. Now, originally I got a different one. The one that I got was through SB, I believe. The reason why I had to get this one is because the other one sat too high and actually didn't allow this hood to close. So I had to get this one. The first one ran me about 80 bucks. This one ran me about 45, 50 bucks or so. But it looks good, and again, serves a purpose. As you guys can see, it sits too close to the support, so we can't run like your traditional filter on it. It has to be like a screen like this. Next on the list is the boost solenoid. That's going to be this guy that sits right back there. So that is going to be in charge of the wastegates. That ran me about $156. And aside from the solenoid, we have the Vibrant vacuum block. Now this is like my favorite like little thing that we bought, because it serves like a huge purpose. So what it is it's a vacuum block. So we get one main source for vacuum that goes to the block, and then anything that's vacuum related could run through there. So for example, since our exhaust is valve controlled, it needs vacuum, so we tapped in right here to get vacuum for that system. Of course, our wastegates, our blow-off valve. Of course, you guys know we deleted our blow-off valve, which used to be right here, and that's why it's blocked off, so we can get that flutter. But it serves a purpose. That ran me about $43. Next, we have the oil pan spacer. So the reason why the oil pan spacer is so significant, it actually serves two purposes, right? So not only are you able to fit more oil in the pan, so technically it's like cooling properties, but two, it gives you the tap for the oil drain. So of course, we have an oil feed line that goes to the stock location for the oil sensor, and then we have an oil drain, so it's underneath the turbo, and once you know the turbo's done doing what it does, you turn the car off, the oil drains and it goes right inside the pan. Well, we got the spacer, and the spacer comes with a tap so that we don't have to like drill inside the oil pan, none of that. That ran me about $141. So we purchased all of those parts. I actually had all those parts sitting, and we were just waiting for the last pieces for the turbo kit. So all that stuff was actually sitting in my room. Now, when installing all of that stuff, there was, of course, miscellaneous stuff that we needed. Like we had fittings that we needed. We have AN fittings. We need like bolts, like just a whole bunch of stuff that you guys wouldn't believe adds up. I would say in miscellaneous parts, we have about $500 just in miscellaneous parts for this car. I know it doesn't make sense, but guys, AN fittings are actually not that cheap. There's a bunch of AN fittings, a bunch of like lines for the turbo, a bunch of like vacuum lines and AN lines and AN fittings, just a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, it for sure added up. I was literally at the parts store like at least 2-3 times a day for like 2 weeks just for this car. So of course, after getting the kit installed and all the parts installed, we had to get a base tune. So we went ahead and ordered the Ecutech programming kit, which cost me about $325. And with that came a base tune through Admin Tuning. And of course, the base tune is just to start the car, drive it a little bit, make sure there's no leaks, make sure everything is good. It's not meant to like hit boost. It was just pretty much to start the car, drive it a little bit, and to get to the dyno day. Now, even though I had the base tune, I still towed the car to the dyno day, and it actually wasn't that far. Thank God it wasn't that far away from me, because we, of course, as you guys know, we are tuned through admin, and he travels to different places to tune different cars. So luckily he came to the Bay Area, which is about an hour 30 for me, and yeah, it wasn't too bad. And on dyno day, admin tuning hit me with a glorious price. Of course, we tuned this car with flex fuel too. $1,200, $1,200. Now, I'm not complaining at all. 100% worth it, because you guys know tuning can literally make or break your car, and I wanted somebody that had experience, somebody that had a reputation behind them to actually tune this car. This car came out making 580 wheel horsepower on 15 psi of boost. Now, like I told you guys earlier, this kid still has some room. The reason why we're not pushing it to its max is because the exhaust that I have is a 2.5 inch, and you need pretty much around a 3 inch to push some weight. So with that being said, it's a huge restriction that's stopping me from hitting like 630. But honestly, I love the way that this car sounds, and all the reassurance that I need is the fact that all I have to do is switch the exhaust out on this car and literally gain like what, 50 to 70 horsepower, something like that. Now, there is still one modification that's coming to this car that I haven't told you guys yet. The price, I'm not gonna tell you what it is, but I'll tell you the price. The price that we paid for it was $4,200, $4,200. That is still on its way. Hopefully it'll be here either this month, like later this month, or early next month. And honestly, I cannot wait to throw it on the car. It's gonna look super sick. So for all the parts, of course, we did all the labor ourselves, so we didn't have to pay for labor. Everything that you guys see, and every single thing other than, of course, the tune, the dyno tune, other than that, everything else was done in my garage, so we saved a huge amount on labor. So the grand total totaled us up to $23,364.28 that we spent just in parts boosting this car. And I'll tell you this, I will do it again if I had to. Guys, it is so worth it. This car looks good, it sounds good, it performs good, and yeah, I'm telling you, I would spend my last cent boosting this car again if I had to. Like, it sounds like a lot, that's because it is a lot. And the thing is, like I say it all the time, and I've said it during the process of working on this car, when I bought this car, I bought it to boost it, but I had no idea how I was gonna get the funds to boost it, because $23,000, guys, like that, I can't just pull that out of my butt, you know what I mean? Like, that was $23,000 that was free money that I was able to spend on my car, and I thank God to this day, because this was my dream build, and I was able to make it happen. And you guys have no idea like how it feels, just literally driving this car, popping the hood, and seeing that turbo sitting there. Like, it's been my dream, and I pray that everybody gets to experience this at least once in their life. I love the way this car sounds. I know I keep saying that, but it's facts. And just like any performance car, I feel like you always have to check up on it. Just make sure everything is good, make sure everything's working as it should. Because I feel like it's more prominent on a car that's NA to boost, meaning it didn't come from the factory boosted, you added a forced induction. Because there are some stuff that we caught on this car, like for example, you guys know we were having an issue with this car shutting off on us on the freeway, or like when it's hot like today. Come to find out, of course, with the help of admin tuning, that we had a problem on our fuel pump wiring that was actually grounding the wiring out and causing the fuel pump to shut off. So that was a huge issue, but we fixed that, so everything is good. Haven't had any issues as far as it stalling since we fixed that. And then, as you guys know, a couple weeks ago we had an issue with our oil drain on the turbo. That fitting came loose and it was actually leaking oil from the oil drain. So we were losing oil for roughly 30 minutes, had no idea. Got down the street, saw smoking, pulled into the driveway, and saw that there was oil leaking from underneath the vehicle, which could have been pretty bad, because if I would have leaked enough oil, we could have started this engine from oil and pretty much could have blown it. So I thank God that we caught that in time. But I'm constantly looking at the gauges, I'm constantly looking at the AFR gauge, constantly looking at the oil temp, constantly looking at the coolant temps, all of those gauges. Just want to make sure everything is good as I'm driving. You won't understand it honestly until you've built a car start to finish. What I mean by that is like a turbo kit, for example. Like, we literally installed this turbo kit by ourselves. We did the fuel system by ourselves. Obviously, we did the utmost to make sure everything was good, make sure there was no fire hazards, none of that stuff. But you really won't understand it until you've gone through it. because then you'll understand that it literally doesn't take that much for something to happen. Like with touching the fuel system, that honestly scared me, because it's like, bro, like these lines could literally come loose, anything could happen, and then boom, a fire. Like for example, like we did the fuel assembly, so we did the fuel basket with the fuel pump, and my biggest thing, because of course we had to do like in tank wiring, and the whole time I was doing, I'm like, bro, like literally these wires could arc inside of this fuel tank, and that's it. Like not even a warning, bro, the car would blow up. That's like what I think. So like getting a fire extinguisher is very, very important. That's definitely next on the list. But yeah, man, I don't think I'll ever sell this car. I say that about both my cars, honestly. Like that car holds sentimental value, because that's what literally started everything for me. I learned how to work on cars, everything. Like literally the channel started with that car, everything started, right? This car holds sentimental value because this was the first car I bought on my own, and I don't think I'll ever get rid of it. Like legit, I think one day I'll have this car sitting inside my house. Like legit, I'm not even playing. So by the time you guys are actually watching this, I'm in San Antonio, Texas. I'm actually leaving tonight as I'm filming this, but there's a lot I have to do. I still have to edit a full video for tomorrow, which is Wednesday, my time. And then I have to edit a TikTok, film 2 new TikToks, and then edit this video. So with that being said, I will catch you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you guys have any questions, let me know. And if there's something in specific that you guys want me to go over on this car, or if you guys want more POV driving, just anything, comment down below, let me know. And as always, I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, stay safe, and stay tuned.
No flex, I done dropped a couple bands on it, brand new Rolex. I can pop a couple bands on you, girl, you know that. Once she get the poppin', I like way to go. We gon' get it poppin' on the radio, turned all night.